Hi Destructoid, it's Holly Bennett here. I'm with Codemasters, my boys, and we're talking F1 2011. Let's get that right. Right. I know you can't talk about an awful lot.
I'll try my best.
It's only just recently been announced.
Yep.
But F1 2011, what are we looking at? What's new? What is stopping this from being another one of those, oh, it's a yearly update?
Because we did the yearly update within a few weeks, because that's the easy part, do you know what I mean? Just updating the tracks or putting the new teams and drivers in, that's the simple part of the game. But the effort's going into new features, so it should be a game that stands on its own 2 feet, independently of the other one. I hate all too often when you buy a game and it's part of a franchise and you think, should I buy the new one yet? I'll wait for it for a few weeks and see what people say about it. I want people to need this game, and the only way we can do that is by putting cool features in that they've been asking for.
I mean, you did really well. F1 2010 was so far, it's Codemasters' biggest cash cow to date. You know, you guys won the BAFTA award winning.
Yay!
You've got a BAFTA. Yeah. But some of the things we have kind of already started seeing with F1 2011. Now we know that obviously the season is a little bit late starting. I know that must have had some impact. You guys work very closely with Formula One. And
yes.
What's it like working with them? Are they very good? Are they very difficult, very specific?
They're very powerful. They're very protective, quite rightly, of their licence and the way it's represented. I mean, we've got making the officially licensed game, but we're still always trying to push the envelope and include things that people get to see on TV or understand to exist in Formula One. And sometimes you have to kind of broach these features, not just with the team at Codemasters and justify why you want to put a feature in, but then you have to speak to Formula One management and say, well, we're thinking of putting this in and this is what we're going to call it, and try and win them over. Sometimes they might not understand why we'd want to put a particular feature in there, or they don't like the naming conventions of things, but you just have that discussion with them and bring them on side. Hopefully it'll be easier this year because the first one's a success. Yeah,
you've actually done, one's already out and it was a massive success. But some of the things we've started to see already, weather, clouds. Tell me about clouds.
Yeah, clouds. So we had a cool weather system previously, and I think we got well known for having that in. Too few racing games have a weather system in there. But for us, it's about that feedback. So instead of the race engineer or some text coming up on screen saying it's likely to rain soon, what I really want to do is what you do in real life, which is look up at the sky and go, oh, it's looking cloudy, it's looking grey, I think it's going to rain. Everybody becomes that kind of weather predictor, weather forecaster. And we spend a lot of time on those things. We've got some really clever people behind the scenes to work on this and give them the freedom to do something different. And that's where the dynamic clouds came from, or the day-to-night transitions. Cool people working on stuff that we'd all like to see.
What about for the character and the pits, that kind of stuff? You've been working on kind of AI and emotions and that kind of stuff. I mean, what kind of work's gone into that to make that feel, I say, more real?
Oh, it's a huge amount of work. I think last year, whilst it was a successful game, there wasn't enough of a reward. Like, if you did something really cool in the game or really special, you were expecting something to happen, and we didn't have time to get all of that in. I think it was the right call at the time, but this year, with another year's worth of development, you're able to look at all those things and polish them up. So even though we had lived the life last year, it's improved massively with, let's say, for example, finishing in the top 3. Now you get that Parc Fermé reward, and you can see the other drivers that finished in the top 3 with you, and the same thing happens online. It's your moment in the limelight. Everybody else has to see you celebrating, and you can shout whatever whilst that's happening. But that stuff's cool. It's the polish that everybody wants to see.
And what about the online? Now, one of the big things, obviously, a full grid.
Yes.
A lot of cars.
Yay.
What are you kind of looking to do with that? Are we going to be split screen as well?
So, yeah, everybody asked for split screen, even when we were working on the 10 game. And I hated last year us having to say, no, sorry, that's a bit of a problem to try and do split screen, or no, we couldn't do this. I'm pleased to be able to say this year yes to all of those things. We are doing 2-player split screen. We're doing a cooperative championship as well, so you and a mate can play throughout the season, fighting to be the number 1 of the team, trying to win the constructors. One of you can win the drivers' championship, save it, come back to it at a later date. That will be really popular. I think that's a real gem for this year. And yes, as you mentioned, 24 cars online. Last year was 12. Now to get all the cars online, 16 players, the rest made up by AI. That's a huge difference. That's a huge change for us. I'm really pleased to have that in. I can finally say yes to it.
Yes. Right. Okay. You're going to love this question. Now, we've talked about this off camera because it's one of everyone's safety car.
Yes, I always get bashed with it.
Or are you going to keep really tight-lipped on the safety?
Going to keep tight-lipped on all those things. I mean, about a number of features that we still haven't mentioned. I mean, I've on these presentations over the past couple of days reeled off loads of features that we're announcing now, but then when we get to E3, that's when we're going to announce the rest of them. And I think people are going to be happy about those things or excited about what's going to be in the 11 game. I think there's a reason for everybody now to buy it. I'm trying to cover all possible avenues of people saying, I'll wait to see if that's in the game. I'm going to get them all.
In previous Codemasters interviews with their other games, one game in particular, realism for them was a bit of a dirty word. They didn't like the fact that this was realistic. How do you guys feel when we talk about realism for your game? Are you trying to go for realism, but are you still trying to keep some element of it's a game, fantasy? I mean, where do you draw the line? Is realism a dirty word when you're talking F1 2011?
It's not so bad. I mean, there are other words that I don't like hardcore or simulation, these kind of things.
Simulation
or is it arcade?
Seems to be never popular.
Yeah, and I always shy away from that. And I've always said it should be authentic. And by that I mean it can be popular and authentic, like the Parc Ferme stuff. You will see it on TV, it looks cool, that can be in the game. And it's same with the handling as well. People always want to shy away from that and say, oh, it's accessible and all these kind of things. Yes, it is, by becoming more realistic and more authentic. The feel of the car is accurate. You don't have to learn how to drive the car how I want you to drive the car, but if you've ever driven a vehicle or you've seen a car moving in real life, you know certain things can happen, and I want that to be portrayed in the game. It makes it easier to play. If in real life you see a driver kind of cutting some corners by going over the curbs and bouncing over it and it looks dramatic, in the 10 game there was a bit of a problem with that. It would really upset the car and you could spin out and you couldn't work out why. For us to update the physics engine and for it to become more realistic means you can do stuff like that. It becomes easier to play.
And the final thing is, I know that Codemasters have taken a lot from the community for this.
Yes. Yeah.
Sort of, what is it like working with the community? I mean, how important is their feedback to you, or really, are you just you're just running with some ideas?
I think it's massively important, not just for the obvious things of they've got some ideas, but a lot of the time it's about justifying things that we really want to do with the game as well. So it's great to be able to turn around in meetings and go, it's not just me that wants to do this, or Parc Ferme, or have 24 cars online. Look, it's all of these people, and I can use those to justify my points, just by picking out the ones that I really want to justify. But it's also them giving us the feedback on the 10 game, justified our decision to go in a particular direction with that game, and to do the things that we did. And it makes me realise that people are desperately waiting for this game to come out, and I don't just wait until we start announcing it. It's all the way through development. We know people are on our back waiting for the game, and it means you keep your foot on the pedal and you keep going the whole time.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully F1 2011 will be a double BAFTA award-winning game. Just always stay tuned to the front page, because we're going to have plenty more from Codemasters in the future, and probably some more from Dubai as well.